This week on Chasing Wildlife, we're searching for some of the most fascinating and irritable snakes found in Illinois. Our trip to the wild Shawnee promises to turn up the greatest species richness in the state of the genus Nerodia, the water snakes. Alright guys, check out what we got here. This is a young water snake. I think it's Nerodia cypodon, northern water snake. Might be a subspecies of that. It's sometimes hard to tell, especially on the younger ones, but take a look at the neat banding pattern. This is a really cool snake. I've only ever caught one water snake in the past. It was a midland water snake just outside of Carbondale, Illinois. Here we are at Little Grand Canyon, and wow, just take a look at this. I can't believe we found a water snake this far away from water. There is a creek down in that general direction, but yeah, here we just found this guy underneath a log, just all sort of coiled up, and wow, yeah, this is awesome. He hasn't bit, he hasn't musked yet. I'm surprised. Water snakes usually have a mean disposition, or what you would consider mean, even though it makes total sense to be really defensive. Hopefully we get a bigger one later on, but yeah, this is awesome. Young water snakes being very calm. You want to take a look at the ventral side, just look at those neat bandings on the ventral scales, and you know, sort of the dark patterning with the lighter brown. Wow, it's just a beautiful little snake. So glad to find. Yeah, and you can tell it's a water snake. I wanted to make sure what the ID was before picking it up, because we do have venomous snakes here, cottonmouth, copperhead, and the like. But I was confirmed that this is a water snake, basically by the eye, because it's circular, and the face scales, that's how I tell, is that they're very pronounced on the side of the face there. And then the patterning too looks a little different than any of the other venomous snakes. So yeah, wow. Alright, comes time to release this little guy. What a really great find, really lucky too, so yeah. Have a nice life. Oh my god. Okay, there we go. Here, he was under this log. There he goes. That was definitely an unexpected find, but it was certainly welcome as the first water snake we found on the trip. The northern water snake is one of, if not the most widespread Nerodia species on the continent, and it's found throughout the state of Illinois. However, we were out to find some of the Shawnee's native species that seem more at home in the cypress swamps of the south.
Got a ribbon snake here. Ow. Biting me a little bit. Doesn't feel nice, that's for sure. He musked a bunch. Very defensive snake. Now the bite doesn't feel that bad, honestly. Every once in a while you get a little pinch, but the fangs, you know, hurt a little bit, but honestly it's not that bad. This guy's very defensive. A little bit of blood there. Gonna hold him close to the head so he stops biting me a little bit. And it's a very defensive snake right off the bat. You can see footage of bit me on my pinky here, and it bit me on the back of the hand. Actually bit our cameraman Brad a little bit too. Just reached over and snatched him. But yeah, very beautiful snake. It reminds me a lot of garter snakes. It's doing a little bit of a roll there, because it's in the same genus, Thamnophis. And it has very similar behavior to a garter, but he was very defensive. Didn't like me picking him up at all. He reminds me of a lot of handling rough green snakes, because I believe, yep, they have keeled scales. Wanted to double check. So it's just like the rough green snake in shape, and in size too, but you know, different colorations. They eat a lot of the same stuff, except these will sometimes venture into the water. So will green snakes, but these guys eat slugs, insects, any small animals they can get their fangs in. And you know, they're pretty common around here. Not as common as like the caged brown snake, for example, but you'll see them crossing the trail every once in a while. And it's a very, very beautiful snake. The way that there's like the darker orange yellowish stripe going down the back, and on the sides is the more the greenish tannish stripe. It's a gorgeous animal. You can see the belly of the snake is relatively white with sort of yellowish greenish towards the edges there. It's a really cool find. Glad we got this snake. Wasn't going out here looking for this snake, but I'm really happy that it crossed our path. We got to pick it up. First snake bite of the trip. Yeah, this guy's pretty feisty, so we should probably let him go in a second here. Alright everyone, this guy's calmed down a little bit. You can see he's not striking anymore, he's just kind of going through my hands. Snakes like it when you let them just run through your hands. It makes them feel more comfortable, like they're in control, and they can get away at any moment. So, I'm gonna go ahead and let this guy go by this little natural spring here, right where we picked him up. Alright, see you later, bud.
Of all the snakes we found on the trip, the ribbon snake was the one I least expected to get a bite from. Both the western and eastern ribbon snakes can be found in Illinois. The easiest way to tell them apart is that westerns have a little white dot on the top of their heads that easterns do not.
Alright guys, there's a bit of a cave in here. I want to make sure we check everything. Could be cottonmouth, copperhead, even timber rattlesnakes, or water snakes. This is a perfect area for them. And, oh, there's a snake right here. Watch your feet. Yep. Looks like a really young juvenile cottonmouth. You can tell by the bright colors. Normally, as they get older, they'll have darker colors. And when they're young, they have those bright greens and browns. Young little guy is really moving with us here. Doesn't have much of a problem with us hanging around him. Look at how small this guy is. Wanting to balance in the monopod a little bit here, which is good. Alright, I think it's time for us to leave this little guy alone. Just hanging out in this little cave home here. Alright, let's keep moving.
Oh, look at this. This is a species I really, really wanted to see. This is a yellowbelly water snake. Nerodia erythrogaster flavigaster. I'll try to handle this snake. I don't know if I'm gonna get bit, musked on, but let's see. Okay, alright. Wow, okay, alright. Oh, look at that belly. Oh. We're gonna get musked on. Oh, and snap that. Now, that's sort of an orangish belly too, so this could be an intergrade with copper belly water snake. Who knows? Oh, look at that. Wow, I love water snakes. I've caught a huge Midland water snake. We've caught, oh, look at all that. All that musk all over me. Caught some small northern water snakes in southern Illinois. This is about a medium-sized plainbelly. Oh wow, this is a beautiful, beautiful snake. Just the coloration. I mean, the back, pretty much no pattern. Hold on. Keeled scales, classic water snake. I just love these species because they get really big. They're usually pretty defensive, usually musk all over you, as this one has, usually bite. They allow you to bleed quite a bit. They have anticoagulant in their saliva. And they often look a lot like cottonmouths because they can flatten out their heads and just overall look pretty menacing, but this snake is pretty much harmless unless you count getting bit and bleeding all over the place as harm. There's mosquitoes on my hand there, but oh wow, yeah, this is one of the prettiest snakes we've gotten. Love water snakes. This is one of my favorite species too. Erythrogaster includes the copperbelly, yellowbelly, and redbelly subspecies. Beautiful, beautiful snake. It's a shame that water snakes are so demonized by people that don't understand them. They're often mistaken for venomous cottonmouths and accused of chasing people while in the water. But the reality is that they're completely harmless if left alone. Our respect for water snakes has only increased this trip, and seeing them up close reinforces the fact that they're among my favorite snake species.
Rock formations are pretty cool.
Oh, we got another snake.
Yeah?
Yeah. Oh yeah, look. It's another Nerodia cyclopion water snake. This one, wow. This one, Josh, would you say that like the colors are a little more reddish than brown?
Yeah.
On this one, I think so. Yeah. And Nerodia cyclopion definitely. Whether it's a Midland or Northern, I'm not too sure. But wow, yeah, this is about like the same size. similar coloration to the last snake we got, but wow, that's awesome. He's just underneath this rock. And there's a bunch of like crayfish towers all over the place, so maybe the snake is feasting on small crayfish. That would make sense since there isn't too much water around here. There's a little bit in spots, but water snakes sometimes come out of the water to look for prey, and especially if there's a lot of it around, which it looks like there is. All this evidence seems to point to that. It would make sense that there's a couple cool little snakes around here. So yeah, if we find the mother of this one, that would be really cool.
All right, everyone, what we got here, it's a little tiny hatchling. This is a common snapping turtle. It's the only snapping turtle in this area and one of 2 snapping turtles in the world. It's the common and the alligator are the 2 that exist, and at this age that's kind of hard to tell the difference because they both have the spines on the back of their shell and their heads look pretty similar. But once they get older, commons will usually be more smooth on the back and their beak will be pretty much normal. It will look like a normal kind of turtle would. But if you look at an alligator snapping turtle, they have the spines and a really almost bird-like kind of beak towards the top, and they look a little bit more vicious. But in reality, these guys are a bit more vicious than the alligator snapping turtles because these guys actually hunt their food. They'll go out, search around ponds and lakes and wherever they may be living, and they'll find food and they'll bite it. And they have a really strong bite force once they get older. These guys can get up to about 30 pounds on average. I've seen some that are close to 40 though. And yeah, he's trying to crawl away now. I'm not worried about him biting me at all. He hasn't been really defensive at all. But yeah, unlike commons, alligator snapping turtles will actually lay down in the middle of like a mucky pond or lake, and they will wave their little tongue around that they have inside their mouth, and that'll attract fish to come bite at that. And then once they go inside the mouth, the snapping turtle will smash its jaws shut and take its food. You can see this guy's really stretching his neck out, trying to get away now. He's kind of warmed up to me a little bit and decided I'm not a threat, and trying to get away from me now, which I'm not going to let him just yet. But yeah, this is a really cool find. It's a very young guy, so I'm being really gentle with him. He was in the middle of the trail. Whoa, really hard to hold on to him with his claws going there. But yeah, he was right in the middle of the trail. It'll be really easy for someone to step on him thinking he's a leaf or something like that. So we're gonna go ahead and put him closer to the swamp, make sure he's away from any cottonmouth, because we've been seeing a lot of those recently, and let him go on his way. So thanks for hanging out with us, little guy. Gonna go ahead and set him down over here. Don't see any cottonmouth or any other predators right around here, so we should be pretty safe. There we go. Oh, actually over there, I think that's a cottonmouth. We'll take a look at that. It's a really cool creature. Yeah. Another cottonmouth. You can see his white mouth. It's the easiest way to tell. Yeah, good thing he's good distance away from that turtle. Don't want to take any risks there. Awesome. Alright, let's keep moving. Alright everyone, what we have here is a plainbelly water snake. This is one of the few kinds of water snakes that are in southern Illinois. There are also copperbelly, which is a subspecies of plainbelly, which this may be, but I'm not going to say for sure. It looks just like a Nerodia erythrogaster to me. So it's a very beautiful snake. You can see he's pretty hyper. He really wants to get away from me. He hasn't tried to strike at all, but water snakes are known to bite, and they have an anticoagulant in their fangs. It's sort of a venom, but it won't do you any harm. It'll just make you bleed a little bit more. Your blood won't want to coagulate the wound and stop the bleeding. So you can see he's kind of hyper, wanting to get away from me. He's been sunning himself here the past couple days, probably after a nice cold weekend. These guys are out and about trying to get warmed up, and you can see the belly on that guy. That's why they call plainbelly. Almost copper colored, so this may be a copper belly, but I'm not going to say for sure. Very beautiful snake. These guys will eat fish, small minnows, slugs, anything they can get, they're gonna eat. They hunt in water, usually. Sometimes they'll get some stuff on land, but yeah, these guys will just corral around their food into one spot so they can get easy picking on their fish, their crawfish, anything they're gonna be eating. The musk on these guys, he did musk a little bit. It smells almost like a skunk. It's a pretty bad musk. So, I get why this guy was confident enough to not move off the trail. Gonna scare all the predators away with that nasty smell.
The plainbelly water snake, Nerodia erythrogaster, has 4 subspecies native to the United States: the red belly, erythrogaster, the yellowbelly, flavigaster, the copperbelly, neglecta, and the blotched, transversa. Some new evidence suggests that these are not truly subspecies, but instead simply color morphs, which would simplify the taxonomy, but until new genetic studies are published, the current classification stands. Alright guys, this is a Mississippi green water snake. The species name escapes me, genus Nerodia. You can't find these too many places in this state. Look how beautiful this snake is. It's a little bit more subdued than the plainbellies we've gotten, but oh wow, just look at that. It almost looks like cottonmouth patterning, but this is definitely a water snake, and oh my god, it's so beautiful. Just a little guy we found out in the trail. Oh wow. The Mississippi green was without a doubt one of the coolest and most surprising animals we came across at Snake Road. I wasn't expecting to find this species, and in fact I wasn't even aware that the Pine Hills area was home to these lesser known snakes. Nerodia cyclopion may not have the flashiest colors or the nastiest disposition, but that doesn't mean it demands any less respect and fascination.
Thanks for watching this episode of Chasing Wildlife. Searching for all those water snakes was tons of fun. Make sure you watch next week's episode to see us find the most dangerous snake in the state, the timber rattlesnake.